got separated in 2005. I was a corporate and securities lawyer at the time, doing everything from venture capital to syndicated loans, cross-border IPOs, things of that sort. So I had no experience in the social sciences at all. And I faced this dynamic at the time. There was, say, a rough year, punctuated by lots of good moments, because when these kids are insulated for whatever reason, the old authentic child comes out. I just devoted myself to reading and study everything from the science of parenting, and then of course that leads you to psychological topics, children, teenagers, the impact of divorce and separation, and then the healing process. Coming from a business law career, what do you know about therapy? Nothing. What do you know about the different types of therapy? Nothing. The different schools of family therapy, and I don't mean institutions, I mean the different strategic family therapy and structural families and solution-focused family therapy, and etc. So I basically threw myself into that at the same time as kind of restructured my life to be able to spend more time at home, and fairly quickly solved it, and came out great on the other side. My son works with me in my law firm doing this work, and my daughter is a clinical psychologist. What does that tell you in terms of their own journeys and how they're rationalizing their own experiences? And somewhere along the way, friends, colleagues who knew of my journey said, you know, would you mind as a favor speaking with so-and-so? They seem to be going through what you're going through. And there wasn't a lot of public awareness. It took me 6 months till I even stumbled on the term in the first place. The minute you stumble on the term, it's this eureka moment, and because then a wealth of resources. But remember, you're talking 2005, there was a lot less, and that gravitated to people insisting that I assist their own family lawyer. I was trying to learn as much of the family law litigation system as possible to help control my own legal costs and do the file with my own family lawyer while my own family lawyer was busy acting for me, like kind of like a mentorship. And then slowly, I just basically was just running those. But the big breakthrough for me, a dad who had been alienated from his kids had worked for years to put together a conference here in Toronto. I was one of only 2 lawyers speaking. And by that time I had a lot of experience how to actually solve these things in a multi-dimensional way. And then of course, what are the classic mistakes that a targeted parent makes? Let's understand those so we don't be making them, and things of that sort. So that was what I spoke on, kind of like, seemed to be the only optimistic presentation at the conference. My practice never looked back after that. The phone ringing off the hook. A week or so later, back in the day when we all still had big, thick weekend newspapers delivered, Saturday Toronto Star, and I'm looking at the front page, and there I am. Not the front page of the lifestyle section or some metro section, front page. And it was all about my talk at the conference and my personal journey. But it also connected me with a lot of the practitioners. I mean, Demos spoke at that conference. Amy Baker spoke at that conference. Having seen it firsthand, I guess the advantage it gives me is I can empathize with the clients, know exactly what they're going through, you know, the fear, the hurt, the moral outrage. And it all gets banged together into this innate need to help others. You know, there's a famous expression from Sir Isaac Newton: if I can see clearly, it's because I stand on the shoulders of giants. There's no reason, there's no excuse, there's nothing good that arises from one of these. Loss has been suffered. I'm now armed with the knowledge to help others. The most common thing I say to my clients, who also, they're chomping at the bit to get in and do advocacy and education and save the advocacy till after you solve your case, then we're happy to welcome you into this community. Having seen this, it cannot be left to stand. It has to be ended. It's just wrong on so many levels. It is horribly damaging kids. It is destroying people's lives to where they're not the productive member of society that they could be. It's burning taxpayer money in the courts. Therapists who could be helping people who have challenges at work and whatever are busy being diverted here. Child protection authorities that have never heard of a particular family are suddenly swamped with referrals the minute there's a separation. False allegations bedeviling police forces, taking them off actually going after real criminals. It's a mess. We have to figure out how to do things differently so that we don't suffer all of these losses in all of these domains. How many kids' childhoods have been wrecked? My co-author, Dr. Baker's original research on adult children of PA, the healthy ones, the ones who were able to kind of conceptualize reaching back out and reconnecting, were all damaged. So there's avoidable losses everywhere. How come it's not translating into ending it? We're not doing it right. The one common theme that all these young adults said, I wish my mom/dad had not given up, had fought harder, had realized that I was stuck, that I had to play the game, that I still love them, that I wanted the comfort of knowing that I hadn't lost them. But they're on social media tracking you. Is my picture still up on my mom's Facebook page, or has she completely forgotten me? The psychological splitting. It's certainly not healthy, and it's something that they're going to feel a tremendous amount of guilt about, which is why alleviating them from that guilt is a big part of the whole reunification thing. Just played it out. I was the greatest dad I could be. Nothing mattered. I was doing hockey with my son 5 days a week, helping my daughter with her homework. One of the tools I teach my parents is the use of food, particularly for a dad, where you know one of the tools, oh, he doesn't cook, like you'll starve there, you'll be eating Kraft dinner every day. I made sure it was the exact opposite. This is a tool that therapists use, by the way. It is hard to be stick mad angry on a full stomach of your favorite foods. The best time to do the more deep, insightful parenting is over dessert. They would never sit and talk to you about a serious topic. But while you play a board game and half their mind is occupied with the game, they're in a remarkably receptive move to talk about relationships and behaviors. And kids don't like to sit in a therapist and talk. One good hug to help the child self-regulate is worth a PhD of discussion. There's so much meaning in a hug. You have to have a thick skin to practice in this field, because the type of people who would perpetuate this are quite mean-spirited. They will file complaints against everybody involved. So I have one going on now. That particular parent has filed complaints against 2 judges, a pastor, a witness, and they all go nowhere. But it's a common mentality. You know, it's not going to dissuade us from the job we need to do. And it reflects badly on them, very badly on them. You're quick to throw mud at the other parent, wow, and you've thrown an encyclopedia at them. But when somebody pushes back, you react viscerally. Why is that? I can be really fierce in cross-examination, which is where the truth usually comes out. You're going to get them into a forum where they're accountable, where the nonsense doesn't work. We hope for solutions that don't involve a protective separation, but it's the fact that courts are prepared to do a protective separation that creates the very accountability. We had some jurisprudence backing up fines per missed visit, but they recently amended the family law rules here in Ontario to put it right in as a prescribed, literally prescribed remedy in a non-compliance case. That's a vacuous, meaningless word. I encourage the child to go. So it's usually part of my cross-examination. Let's see. You think the other parent is, and then I pull together all their prior testimony, affidavits, everything, 25 different pejorative terms. But you're encouraging the child to go, are you sure? You really believe in that package? But you're encouraging, explain that to me. Oh, I believe it's important for the child to have a relationship with their mother, provided it's safe. Oh, there we go. There's our condition, provided it's safe. So in other words, you really don't want them because you consider them unsafe. Eventually, they have nowhere to retreat, which is why the models that we talk about to assess for PA are based on pattern recognition. Give me someone's story. In 5 minutes, I can tell you what's going on. Because you see choices being made. Child comes back to parent A's house. They're grilled. Child knows that parent A wants them to say something negative about the other house. They are socially referencing the environment. And they know intuitively that it makes parent A happy if they dish something negative about the other home. So they give parent A what they want, whether it's true or not, because it protects them in parent A's home. So they invent something, they exaggerate something, they misconstrue something. There's no context that 99% of the time it's great, I love being at mom's house. And they relate the one dispute that happened when they were with their mom for 3 days. The rest was great. And then parent A calls the Child Protection Authority. Wouldn't you first, if you were acting in good faith, call the other parent and say, Johnny's telling me this, I know you. Like, what actually happened? Same standard as would apply in an intact home. The standard is, how would we expect the two co-parents to act if it was an intact family? In separated families, that becomes the crisis, the straw that broke the camel's back. You're not going back there. It's an abusive environment. So it's very easy to see the patterns of behavior. So alienating parents are like circling sharks, waiting for the targeted parent to make a mistake, to smell some blood in the water, which a shark can do from a mile away, apparently. And then they just move right in for the kill. They're pouncing on some minor controversy in the other parent's house. It is not how good faith co-parenting works. And, there's all kinds of perverse incentives built into the family law system that'd be great if we got rid of, that tend to foster the worst of this behavior. We have way more, at least visibly, parental alienation cases today than if you go back 20, 30 years ago. So is that just better recognition, parents not giving up, they're staying in the fight for their kids' benefit as much as their own? Or is the game just being played harsher and dirtier today than it used to be played? I don't know. Today you meet somebody and the topic comes up, it's like, oh, that. Like there's instant recognition, even if there isn't recognition of the term that we use. If everything's going great, you're not busy attacking the professionals. Gardner was attacked, Dr. Lowenstein was attacked. Just, if you're in this game long enough, you're going to be attacked. I'm not the child abuser here, sir, ma'am. You are. I have often said that I think our jurisprudence in Canada is the most advanced in the world. And there's just a couple of reasons for that. One is we do use interprovincial jurisprudence, that the focus has to be on the long-term best interests of kids and not the fact that there's going to be some short-term upset from a reversal of primary residence. What I feel is the best definition of PA I've ever seen anywhere in the world. A psychologist from Winnipeg, Manitoba. It's 3 paragraphs long, a harmful pattern of behavior, and he explains how that harmful pattern of behavior undermines the child's view of the other parent. We still need a label. Labels are conclusionary statements. If you're able to act quickly before the new patterns of thinking are deeply ingrained, you can always tap back in to that deep pool of love that existed before. What makes humans different than machines is hope. That's what can keep people going through this. Do whatever you can. Never give up. You just drift. You may not even know what city your child's in. And by the time the child might be, whatever, 9 years has gone, but they don't even know how to find their way back. Because by staying in the game, by messaging unconditional love, is the highest form of respect you could give your own child. I'm going to go on, I'm going to live my life. I'm not going to sit there crying every day because that isn't going to entice you back. I have to kind of show you the good life that I'm living. It's not the life I want. The life I want has you in it. As a young adult, they look at that and they start to think about everything that they're missing out on, because you've made yourself kind of an attractive figure for them. Also because it gets pitched by the alienating parent as an abandonment. But you did everything possible to push your mother away. I felt abandoned. She should have kept fighting for me. Till the time is ripe for them to reconnect. And so long as you're in the game, you have, I'll come back to what I said, you have hope.